My mama always told me that the truth will set me free. What if I had a pathway or a roadmap or some framework to understand how I could get to that freedom? Because as a kid, I was like, well, the truth will set me free. But sometimes if I tell this truth, I'm going to be on restriction because I did some stuff I shouldn't be doing. Well, I said to this woman when I was in Memphis, I said, it won't look good on you. And in my heart, I was telling the truth. She had just asked me to get layers in her hair. Well, I had just started as a hairdresser, didn't have any training at all. I just got the job in Memphis, Tennessee at Gould's salon there. And I was alone. They gave me the keys to the shop. I was just by myself. And the lady said, what do you think about layers? And I just looked at her and confidently I said, they wouldn't look good on you. And she almost took it as it was truth. Well, in my heart, I was telling the truth. The rest of the truth was that I actually just didn't know how to do them, and I only knew how to cut one length hair, and if I cut that woman's hair in layers, it wasn't going to look good. So I was telling the truth, but when I told the truth to this woman, she accepted it. It actually set me free, and that freedom gave me joy just to be able to have so much fun with the lady while I was sitting there. And even though she didn't know that I only told her that I wasn't going to cut layers on her hair because I only knew how to cut one length hair. And I knew in my heart of hearts, I knew if I cut her hair with layers, it was going to look absolutely awful. But because I told her that truth, she accepted that truth. I wasn't lying. It created joy, which joy was the art of falling in love with my current circumstances and allowing magic to happen. And the magic that happened is the lady sat there and then she went home and told all her friends about this guy who was a specialist in one length hair. Well, when people came in and they would ask again, can I get layers? No, I don't think it'll look good on you. The people weren't attracted to my technique. They were attracted to the joy that I got from the freedom that was delivered because of the truth that was told. And so as I sat down with Proverbs 19 today, I realized that when you tell the truth, it'll set you free. That freedom will bring joy, and that joy will attract all the things that you desire in your heart, which will cause people to feel so great in your presence, and it'll attract so many people to come towards you. And as I looked at it, I was like, as I spent that time in Proverbs 19, it helped me to realize that there was a framework. There was a framework to live free, to laugh, and to be full of joy. Because that's where the magic truly happens. So why don't we get this party started?
Achieving, cause we believing it's for certain. We put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting right before your eyes. So it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
The truth will set you free. And my mom would always tell me this, and I never believed her. I believed my mom, but I didn't always apply it. I would listen to it sometimes. A lot of times I wouldn't accept it, and then there was a ton of times where I wouldn't apply it. But if you can listen to wisdom, you can accept it, and then you can apply it. That's where the Holy Grail is, and that's where the magic really begins to happen. I got a chance to be able to go live. If any of you that were on the live are listening now, I want to thank you so much, and I want to thank you guys for tuning into the podcast. It means the world to me, and the greatest compliment people ask me, I actually had Tara Harvell on the podcast yesterday, which She's an incredible businesswoman, built an absolute empire. Last year when we talked, her company was doing over 10 million a year. It's doing more now. She created a hair extension business and then a consulting business. And then now she's partnering with salons. And I had the opportunity to work with her very early on in her career. She gives me a lot more credit than I deserve in that. But she's just doing some amazing, amazing things. And I got a chance to be able to spend time with her. And it was incredible because the first question that I asked her was, what's the most country thing that you've done in the last week? And she didn't expect the question, but she couldn't answer the question without telling the truth. And once she told the truth, then there was joy that surrounded the conversation, and it set her free. It set her so free, and there was so much joy in that conversation that joy then is going to attract so many people to want to do it. So when we got done with the podcast, Tara asked me, you always ask everybody else, how can I contribute to you? And she said, how can I contribute to you? And it was tough because I generally don't ever get asked that question. But here's the real answer is listen to the podcast, share it with your friends. That would be the greatest compliment that you could ever give, and it would be the way that you could contribute to me, right? We've got a 7-day challenge going right now too, which is, I think we're in day 5 or 6. I think we're in day 5 because it's Friday. So we're going through the corresponding proverb, corresponding day, and I'm challenging you to read the actual proverbs. So sometimes you'll listen to me. We're doing Proverbs 19 today. You'll listen to me, but I want you to actually read it. I want you to read it and then just answer 3 simple questions. What verse hit your heart? What did it make you think about? And what action can you add to it today? And I just want you to do this for 7 days. And I truly believe in 7 days, we're going to have some testimonies because I want to hear the difference in the 7 days. Now, it won't be, all your life and challenges isn't going to just turn around, but you'll start to see some differences. And then I want to celebrate those things. I want to celebrate them with you. So I want to hear about them. So comment here on the podcast or on my social or wherever, send me a direct message. And then that way I can share your story because I just think that it's so incredible. And I think that this can truly, truly, truly make a difference. If you don't have just the word, like you can just go through and use the word. I have that and I have a journal, but also the Vibe Within, the INCHSTONES book, it has all of it there. So as it has space for a 3-month journal. It has the wisdom cycle in it that shows you, which starts with the fear of God, leads to wisdom. Wisdom leads to knowledge, knowledge to understanding, understanding to insight, insight to discretion, discretion to discernment, discernment to discipline, discipline to strength. And that cycle, when we keep it going, we don't want to break that cycle. But I tell you, there's in business and life and relationships and all those areas, it can really, really fill up in all areas of your life, which I think can be amazing. If you don't also have the book, The Vibe, pick up The Vibe. This one goes through, and this is what I wrote about after we built multiple $1 million businesses all throughout the country. And we did it. I barely graduated from high school, didn't have a college degree in it, just did it, didn't do it on my own, did it with a team of 19 to 24-year-olds that built the company. And then when we did that, we looked back and then I just wrote everything down afterwards. So it wasn't a theory, it was application. And it goes through for you to assess your culture, your process and procedure, which is nothing more, all your rules are nothing more than a list of your screw-ups, your productivity, your innovation, and your ability to adapt immediately. And then it asks you or keys into the one main ingredient that powers them all. Which is the vibe, the way that people feel about all those that I just spoke about. It's very, it's a quick read. It's about 117 pages, but literally can change your business and you can apply it to your relationships too. So that's there. Let's get to Proverbs 19 though. So with Proverbs 19, this freedom, my mom said, the truth will set you free, right? And that freedom will create joy, and that joy will attract everything that you need within your life. And because people are attracted to joy. I noticed this. I was a little, I've got a 16-year-old daughter. I've got a 14-year-old son. Happy birthday to Maddox from last week. But when you have a 16-year-old daughter, sometimes she's going to get mad at you because she didn't get a bagel. Like yesterday, she didn't get a bagel and she got really mad at me and she stormed out. And then I said, her mom came down. She said, oh, well, the day started off tough because she didn't get her bagel. And I at first I wanted to react. You didn't get a bagel? Well, you didn't live in Lompoc with a 1-bedroom apartment, you know, all these things like me and my brother did. But that's what I wanted to say. And that's what I was feeling in my heart a little bit. But then my wife is taking care of our little niece, and little niece is a couple weeks old, maybe a month old. And baby's crying, and the baby only cries for, I think, 3 reasons. 1, because it's tired. 2, because it needs to eat. Or 3, because it just pooped. And as she's holding that baby in her arms and it's crying out, we wouldn't get mad at the baby for crying. And so with my 16-year-old that got mad at me for not having a bagel, I started to think maybe she's just crying out for a little bit of love. So, you know, again, it's looking at all those circumstances and falling in love with the circumstance, not trying to change it, but that's what joy is. And that's where the true magic happens. So Proverbs 19 really gives us a framework to live free, to laugh, and be full of joy, because I find that most of the time when people talk about rules or regulations, I have the tendency to tighten up, and I've tightened up in my life. And then when I got to the point where I realized that the rules are nothing more than a list of my screw-ups, then I was free to screw up as long as I wrote it down and it became the next rule or procedure. But what God is saying is he created this framework, and the rules were not to, you know, to constrict you, to constrict your movement. It was to give you freedom, because these rules that are put in place is because people had made mistakes. And when they made mistakes, he wrote them down. And when he wrote them down, he doesn't want you to go through that. And he doesn't want you to go through the pain that he knows that you'll go through if you step outside the framework. But the framework is there not to constrict you or to confine you, but to give you complete freedom, because when that freedom is there, then you'll have joy, and that joy will attract every other thing. And I thought with my daughter, with the bagel, I should teach her the lesson. I should tell her all these things. But when you take a person that is maybe not feeling that great and you respond with joy, you respond with love, you respond with light, it shifts things on their time, not on your time, right? That's the hardest thing to deal with. But here's the framework, guys. In verse 1, Proverbs 19, take a breath, ease up, and walk free in wisdom. Wisdom is right use knowledge, and wisdom, the beginning of all wisdom, is the fear of God, which is the respect of God. So if you spend time with him, see his words, see his actions, then you'll respect him. And when you respect him, then he'll give you wisdom, which is the right use of knowledge. That knowledge will give way to understanding. Understanding will bring insight. Insight will bring discretion. Discretion will bring discernment. Discernment will bring discipline. Discipline will bring strength, and it'll lead you right back to the fear or respect of God. That's the wisdom cycle, and it's in the book. So you guys can check that out. In verse 2 is slow down and get the whole story. This was the thing with my wife yesterday, is most of the time we hear half the story and then we make it about us. And that's what I have the tendency to do as a dad, and that's where I fail. I hear a little bit of the kid, you know, my son or my daughter or my wife or anybody getting a little angry or they're down, and then I just jump into it. How does that affect me? And then I tell the story based off of how I feel. Well, it's not about me. This is what my brother tells me all the time. Although I'm the baby in the family, and I think that everything should be about me. So in verse 3 is God isn't complicated. Don't blame him for your silly decisions. I've made a lot of silly decisions in my life, and then I've turned around and I blame God. Like, where are you, God, in this? And he's like, man, I didn't do that. You know, I used to say this when I would speak to a lot of young kids, when I would speak in beauty schools early on in my career and throughout my career. Girls would come to me afterwards and they'd be like, I'm really struggling in my relationship. And I would always say that there was only 4 things that'll take you down in your career as a young woman. I said, boys, 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 and boys. And I said, just be conscious of that because of the decisions, you know, and I said, if you have a bad relationship, I used to get in trouble with this one. If you have a bad relationship, do this right now. And they would all get close and I would start to whisper and I'd be like, break up with him right now by text. And everyone goes silent, and then you could hear people laughing, and you know, but then there would be the silent ones. The silent ones were in the bad relationships. Then they'd come up afterwards, they'd be like, oh my gosh, I have this challenge in my relationship. And then I'd be like, tell me more about the relationship. Well, I met him, and then things were good, and then they went bad. And I was like, okay, where'd you meet him? And 95% of the time, they met him in a place that wasn't a place where you should meet somebody that you want to be with for a long period of time. And see, at that point, those women would be blaming God or asking the question like, I can't believe that this is happening. Well, I can believe it based off of where it started. So don't blame God for your silly decisions. God is not complicated. He's very simple. He just wants you to spend time with him. When you spend time with him, then he'll fill you up. Number one, with love, because God is love. He'll fill you up with love, and he'll give you wisdom. And that wisdom will help you to be able to navigate all the rest of the stuff. It's very, very simple, right? But it's not easy. In verse 4, 6, 7, and 9 is true friends are a gift, so value them as at the highest level. I got a friend, Eddie, and I got a friend, Will, and I got a friend, my best friend, Rob, Nate, Dave, Andy, Alfred, DeAndre, JB, all these friends. I just want to tell you guys how much of a gift you are to me and how much I love you. In verse 5, speak life to everyone around you. Speaking life is just using somebody's name, saying something specific about them, and then, calling it a day. Do that always, often as possible. In verse 8 is wisdom will restore your love for life. So watch this. Wisdom is the right use of knowledge. The beginning of all wisdom is the fear of God. But wisdom will restore your love for life. When you love life, people will want to be around you. And it doesn't mean that you love life because your life is great or it's perfect. It just means that you have joy, which is the falling in love with your current circumstances and allowing magic to happen. Wisdom will restore your love for life, and understanding will make you prosper. When you understand that, it'll make you prosper. In verse 10 and 28 and 29, you can't fake the funk. No matter how much you want to put on the right chains or put on the right pants or live in the right neighborhood with the right car, you can't fake the funk. Just be who you are, who you're designed to be. And how do we find out who we're designed to be? How do we figure out and find out what our purpose is? Starts with the fear of God or the respect of God. Just spend time with him. He'll fill you up with love. He'll give you wisdom. And then you'll be able to navigate every single thing else. And that includes business. It includes your relationships. In verse 11 and 19 is wisdom brings patience and forgiveness. Secure your mask and then help others. Most of the time when we're in a challenge, we have the tendency to go out and say, oh, I'm in this challenge, and so I'm going to go out and just help somebody else with their stuff. What God is saying is, come to me. I want to be able to help you. I want to be able to help you. Wisdom brings patience. If you don't have patience, you can't go out and teach that patience. And so what God is saying is secure your mask first. Spend time with me and I'll fill you up. And then when you're filled up, you'll be able to fill up others. And so he wants you to be filled up. He wants you to be filled up with love, and he wants to give you that wisdom. And where you'll get it is simply by spending time with him. In verse 12 is wisdom brings joy, and joy gives you an unfair advantage. When you have the art of falling in love with your current circumstances and allowing magic to happen, with that lady that asked me about the layers, I knew I had to tell the truth, which was they wouldn't look good on her. That truth set me free. That freedom gave me joy, and that joy attracted everybody else, and my business grew like wildfire. If you want your business to grow like wildfire, be filled with joy, but that joy will come from freedom. That freedom will come from telling the truth, but you can't tell the truth until you understand the truth, so spend some time with God. Be filled up with love. Accept his wisdom. And then things start to move. In verse 13, 14, 18, 26 is honor your family. My pops would always say this as much as possible. Honor them at the highest level and love on them, and not just your blood family, but the people that you love and the people that love you around you, your chosen family also. In verse 15 and 16 and 24 is laziness does not work. You can comma that, laziness, comma, doesn't work. Or you could just do it as 3 words. Laziness doesn't work. Laziness is just not being diligent. Diligence is right work. And how do we know what is right for us? It's by spending time with God, being filled up with his love. Accept his wisdom, and you'll see where you need to be diligent, which will be right work as opposed to busy work. In verse 17 is generosity fills up your heart and is an indicator of your heart. It's a circle that way. In verse 21, God's ways are better, always. In verse 22, people just want love. when you want people to follow, or you need people to move to a different level. We were talking about this as far as coaching. At the end of the day, people don't want your information. They don't want, anything except the love. Now, so if your story is based in love, if your data is based in love, they will accept it. And so understand that people just want love. In verse 23 is the fear of God wins. That's just spending time with him. In verse 25, this is a pattern that I found in business, is love and data. Wrap your data in love. Make sure that all the data that you ever give to anybody has a secure, firm foundation in love. Now, when I give my dog medicine, I have to wrap it in peanut butter. Why? Because the dog likes peanut butter. I don't wrap the peanut butter in medicine. So when you're communicating with your team, love and data, wrap your data in love and people will accept it. I learned that because I messed up on it a lot. In verse 27, as we finish up, is seeking wisdom is a constant process like brushing your teeth. Seeking wisdom is not something that you set and forget. You're never going to get to a point and become, oh, now I'm wise. You're going to constantly have to do it. It's just like brushing your teeth, or like my son, he takes a shower at night and then he leaves his drawers on the bathroom floor. And I tell him, like, son, pick up your drawers. Then he'll pick them up. And then the next day he'll leave them on the floor and I'll be like, son, did you pick up your drawers? And he'll be like, I did yesterday. Well, you didn't today. You got to do it every single day, just like brushing your teeth. That's what seeking wisdom is. So as we finish, is seeking, accepting, and applying wisdom is designed to create freedom in your spirit, not to restrict your movement. It will give you the foundation, the tools, and the skills so you can tell the truth to yourself that will ultimately set you free. When I told you about the lady, and I told her that it won't look good, I was telling the truth. I was telling the truth to her, because if I cut her layers that day like she asked, it wasn't going to look good. That truth set me free. And that freedom gave me joy. And that joy attracted every other thing. My business grew faster than ever. People built the business. It's amazing what can happen. So I want to tell you as we close today is the truth will set you free. But you have to seek it. You have to seek that truth. You have to understand it. And you have to know it. Fill your heart up with it. When your heart overflows, then you'll speak it. And when you speak truth, it'll give you freedom. And that freedom will create joy, which is falling in love with your current circumstances and allowing magic to happen. And that magic will happen all around you. People will want to be around you because of the joy that they feel in you. Not because your circumstances changed, but because you just simply fell in love with them. So if you didn't get a chance to pick up one of the books, the INCHSTONES, grab that one. The Vibe, also grab that book. They're on Amazon, and come and hang with us at the Vibe Room, November 5th, live version of the podcast. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because